big clap so all the audio signals can kind of see each other. So, man, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
This is awesome. Super cool. We have a mutual connection, which is the Kaylin group, Tracy Mullen. And you just finished doing a podcast with her as well, actually.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, right before Christmas.
Nice. So you've been doing like the podcast rounds.
Yeah. Are we live?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. Okay. All right. It's for real.
Yeah. I usually kind of just like start nonchalantly, like usually, I don't know, it's like interesting, like conversations, you know.
Sure. Gotcha. Okay, cool.
But I wouldn't actually, all the other episodes have kind of started with like randomly, like the guest not knowing. But I'll give you an opportunity to introduce yourself, and let's do it like a little bit more traditional this time around. Yeah, so go ahead, man.
Yeah, so my name is Michael. I'm the owner of Altona Painting. We're a residential and commercial painting business here in Durham. I started the business 8 years ago, like day one out of university. And I had this grand vision in the summer of 2017. I was traveling in Peru with some friends on an internship for school. And I loved it. I loved every second of it. And we were there to do policy analysis for this NGO. But on the weekends, we'd travel and party and have fun. So I was like, man, this working and traveling lifestyle, I could get really used to. So then the wheels started turning, and I was like, what can I do to bring me, like, to actualize that vision? And then the idea struck me. I was like, well, I know how to paint really well because I had a really successful Student Works painting franchise in 2015. So then I was like, okay, that's it. I decided I was starting a painting business when I finished my degree, and here we are pretty much 8 years later.
That's amazing, man. That's great. Do you feel like it was maybe like an epiphany that happened? Was it like painting? Like was it like fireworks going off, light bulbs? Was it like a eureka moment, or was it more methodical and strategic and a thought like that?
It was a bit of both.
Yeah.
I knew that the painting business was going to be a vehicle for other things. I just didn't know what at that time. But I also saw it as a master's degree in a sense. Because a lot of my professors were clamoring to have me back. They're like, come do a master's degree. And I was like, yo, I've been a student since I was 4 years old. Yeah. I want to start making money.
Yeah, for real. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I only asked that because when I was, my entrepreneurial journey started with the BACD, Business Advisory Center Durham, and they're wicked, where like as a student, you get $5,000 to start your own business. And they have mentors and workshops, and it's super cool. And I had devised like a 10-page business plan on starting a moving company. And I thought, this is going to be the best thing ever. This is what I'm going to do. And then literally I submitted it late at night for like the submission to be like accepted into the program. Right. And as soon as I sent it, I had a eureka moment, and I was like, no, this is not what I want to do. So I was like, and it was like a light bulb, just like completely epiphany. And I realized I wanted to tell stories and get into photography and video. And I knew that was my outlet to get into it. And so I devised a whole new 10-page business plan and stayed up all night writing it and submitted it the next morning and said, please disregard my previous business plan application for your program. Here's what I actually want to do. So that just like was wild to experience, actually. And I think more people can like dream up something that they like really truly want to do, the better off like many people can be, you know?
That's it. Yeah. I think too many people play it safe. And I think one of the riskiest things you can do is not be a risk taker.
Yes.
Right?
Big time. Yeah.
Extraordinary things don't happen inside the box.
Very true. Yes, that's so funny. I definitely made like 3 risky investments in my upbringing, and they all panned out well. And there's one most recently over the weekend. I was like to my wife, and it's of the scale of like nearly like a $5 million like investment.
Oh my God.
It would,
stellar.
and like I had to use AI to like, I'm not like super loaded. Okay.
Yeah.
But I used AI to devise like how could this work with as little as like 5% down. And it actually came up with a proper solution on like getting it done. And then of course, I was like up all night, like devising this plan. And then the wife the next morning was just like, no, you're stupid. It's like, but those are those risks that you have to take, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
No, it's as Brene Brown calls it, it's a crappy first draft. Yeah, you got to get it down. You got to get it out into the universe. You got to make it real. And then even if 10% of it is golden, but 90% of it's junk,
yeah,
you can still repurpose the 10%.
Exactly. Yeah, man, absolutely. So we're going into the spring market right now, and you're probably super busy.
Yes.
What do you think are some typical things? Like, what's your day to day? So, like waking up and like how many job sites you got going on, how many people work for you, things like that.
Yeah. So right now we have about 8 painters. I got a few full timers and a good, really strong cohort of subcontractors. But everyone, success isn't something you pursue; it's something you attract. And a few years ago, I kind of just cleaned house on some bad apples and toxic team members. And man, we got a wicked staff.
Nice.
Like everyone's there to do a great job. Everyone wants to have fun. Everyone wants to put their best foot forward. And we've just cultivated a really great culture.
Nice.
So that's very helpful on the production side of things, because I think any trades person watching this or anyone that runs a service-based business watching this can relate, where they know what they need to do to scale and to grow and to maximize, but then sometimes they have to keep going and saving the day, because when you eventually get good help, everything just runs along like a well-oiled machine, which is where we're at now, which is such a powerful position to be
awesome,
in.
Man. Congrats. That's
Thank
huge.
You.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I feel like I'm like a little bit before you right now. Like we just in the past year started getting some really good help. Good. So I can understand how that feels. And I just got out of the trenches basically. So it's nice and been living the life for the past year, or almost 2, really.
Yeah, no, and it's really good because now your time, like someone, either one person or 2 people really have to drive the vision.
Yes.
And have to develop the business and develop the culture. And that's what I've been able to do the past couple of years is we've been on a really big push to work with a lot more real estate agents. So while the guys are painting listings and doing whatever projects they're painting, residential, commercial, I'm out there knocking on doors, making cold calls, presenting at all these brokerages. Because a few years ago, things were slow, our backs were against the wall, and I said, we need more work. We need recurring work. And the past few years, we've really dialed in working with realtors and commercial property maintenance, like condo buildings or townhome complexes, like places that need maintenance painting.
Absolutely. That's great. That's super smart. And that is reliable, recurring. And you start to, after a few years, you start to know when it's slow. So like March break is technically probably, it could be busy or slow, depending on, I think, a few factors. If people are, doubling down on getting their homes ready or something, right? Or the weather was crap like this past year and not much activity happened. I don't think so this past March break, really. But you could have still been busy and even though we're in like different kind of processes of selling a home. We come in when it's all ready to go. But you're in the thick of it when for real estate agents, and that's awesome, dude.
Yeah. And this time of year is really fun for us. We have all of the trade shows. So all the, like the Whitby home shows coming up. I was just in the Lindsay show this weekend. We had the Oshawa show recently. So everyone's getting ready for all their spring cleaning and renovations. And then also in alignment with the spring market for real estate, basically you asked what my day-to-day looks like. My day-to-day now at this time is, doing stuff like this, going and doing sales appointments and leading and managing the team. I've empowered some of my team members to take on the role of like making the schedule and running the job sites. And a couple of my guys have approached me and they're like, hey, like we want to learn how to start selling jobs. So,
nice.
These things don't happen overnight, but as long as you stick with the team development, like having a culture of lifelong learning, Things will organically, as Grant Cardone says, don't get rich quick, get rich for sure.
I like that. That's awesome. Excellent. How can people find or this gentleman, or do you have any other marketing gurus to recommend as well? Because I think you mentioned a few now. So
There's a few. I know Grant Cardone's not everyone's fan favorite, but he's got some good nuggets.
Yeah.
I really like. Not that he's a marketing guru, but I've always liked Deepak Chopra.
Oh yeah.
He's got a very interesting take on things. Is it Russell Brunson with the ClickFunnels?
Yes.
Yeah, so he's really good for that.
Wicked.
We live in the digital age.
Yes, big time. Yeah. You can have the best content, but if you don't have like a good way to like funnel people into a sales system, then you're just gonna have great content.
Yeah.
And maybe your numbers will look good, but does your bank account look good?
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've been really engaging with Bob Proctor lately.
Nice.
So God bless him, rest in peace. He's no longer with us, but he, from the lineage of like Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, and then Earl Nightingale, and then Bob Proctor. He's one of the core, how would I say this, like proponents or mentors on channeling energy and raising your vibration, and
Wow, awesome.
and just like being magnetic and being the best person you can be, and like manipulating the laws of nature to channeling your will into existence.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, that's so good. That's seriously great. And it's there's two things in my mind right now. One is every episode we've done so far, it seems to be people that are of similar mind like that, putting their best face forward, and kind of like a holistic nature of just like taking care of themselves, taking care of others, and just being kind, right? And that just speaks volumes. And then second of all, too, like that's how you're able to be so successful too. Like you're always just putting your best self forward. And I think that that kind of divides people, like grumpy people that are like just gonna be angry at everyone, will just not achieve their dreams, unfortunately. But people that are willing to be super kind and friendly, like I that's the great attractor. People want to work with people like that, right?
That's it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. One question for you. So for someone that may be stuck with like, they're looking for help. It could be any business. It can be any service business, lawn care, etc. What are some good tips on like how do you find like good help? What are some things, some elements that you see in a person potentially, or something like that? Like how do you know you're gonna find this person really good, and some tips?
Okay, so you're asking like in the context of recruiting and finding good people.
Yeah. So then you can kind of get out of the rut of like doing everything yourself and start building like a true business, right?
Right. Okay, so this is kind of a twofold approach. Starting with the individual or individuals you're seeking to be part of your power team or your Navy SEALs of excellence.
Nice.
Whatever service you're doing.
Wicked.
I would say some key traits that you'd want in people are, number one, are they a team player? Do they complain and whine and bitch? Or do they actually just...
You're allowed to swear.
Okay. Or do they pull up their socks and get the job done? Number two is in alignment with that. Like, do they have a no problem attitude? Right? Because if everything's a problem, then everything's eventually going to be a problem. But if they have a no problem attitude, then, things get produced, they get done, things move along. I would also say open-mindedness, people who are open to learning new things, coachable.
Yeah.
That's a huge one, right? Because some of the people I've let go over the years have not been coachable. They ask for a million chances and they don't change. So that's a big one. I would also say communicative, like people who like, they don't have to be extremely verbose, but as long as they're responsive on email, text, call. Like, I know this sounds very rudimentary, but when you're running a service-based business with multiple projects on the go, like, you need to be able to communicate with your team, right, in detail. Between amongst your like intra-company communication and then back to your clients, everyone's got to be on the same page.
Good points. Those are amazing points. I can relate with definitely 80% of that, pretty much.
Yeah.
Big time. That's awesome, man. Very good.
The second part of that would be, going from a bird's eye view on how your business is looking. One thing I've found very effective the last couple of years, a few years ago, I hired an operations coach, and he helped me put together the operations side of my business. And a really massive thing he helped me do was help me build my quoting software.
Oh, nice.
So when I go into a room, depending on what you want me to paint, I measure out the room, I pick all the work items, I have my primer and paint products, and then this system spits out a price with all my margins, all my products, I see everything. It's like there's real proprietary value to the business.
Oh, that's amazing. So you're not like second guessing at all. You got your quotes down to a science, quite literally, a math. Yeah. And you can pretty much like just fire off that quote then and there if you really wanted to, or you bring it back to the office and just double confirm, I guess, if you wanted to.
Yeah. Like back in the days of yesteryear when I first started the business, everything was pen and paper and calculator, digital math. Now it's all like in the system. I just punch in the measurements. I click the work item, pick the paint product, and it gives me the price.
Yeah, wicked. That's awesome.
But kind of concluding that thought, that coach, that mentor that I had, he really, and this is the value of mentorship and coaching, is that he pulled me back and said, okay, you can't see the forest through the trees. Like you're here, right? Yeah. So he's like, you need to step back and look at each department of your business and make a list of what it is you need to do for each one to scale and maximize and optimize.
Nice.
So I did that a couple of years ago, and bit by bit, week by week, like I have this massive master list of everything I need to do to scale and optimize and grow. And I just knock off one thing at a time.
Nice.
Like all these things on the table here, like my hardcover portfolio, some of my other goodies, like those were all things that were like, okay, I got to get to this eventually. I'm redoing my website right now.
Wicked.
Just I could go on, but the point is, like, when you build a culture in a company where your team can see that there's a concerted effort from the leader to continue building the business and making it a better place for them to work and higher value clients, higher value contracts. Everyone's winning, everyone's staying busy with work. Like that's the goal, right?
Nice. Well said, man. Let's look at some of your printed materials here.
Yeah.
Since you brought it up. And you can kind of like show the camera too on like from your angle, this guy right there.
Sure. Okay. I'll be quick with them.
Sure.
So this is my business card magnet.
Sick. Beautiful.
So longer shelf life with a magnet. I call people months later and they're like, I still have your magnet on my fridge.
Nice.
This is my trifold brochure, so a little bit more show and tell with the before and after shots and some client testimonials.
Yes.
It's got some of my work locations there too.
Wicked. Oh, that's super smart.
This is an expectations sheet. So this is a one-pager, double-sided. There's a one before and after shot on it. Basically, it talks about like my brand promise to the client. Some of the services I offer. And then on the back here, I got like pro tip for picking colors.
Nice.
And then the process in terms of, what it looks like when we get to your house and where we keep our tools and how I like to get paid and
nice.
All the unknown unknowns.
Yeah, you just answer everything for everyone. So you kind of like skip a bunch of steps, recurring steps that always happen with almost every job. And you're just like, here's all the answers. Let's streamline the process. That's great. I love that one example too of the before and after here, which is the red walls.
Yeah.
I saw one of those recently, actually, a few days ago, toward the end of the last week. And I just know when I photograph a home, I literally know which homes are going to have a hard time selling unless they priced it right or something else, right?
Exactly.
Or there's a unique feature about the home. And it all comes down, like the hugest thing is like painting.
Yeah. No, I'm sure people have watched The Property Brothers.
Yeah.
And for those who haven't, the premise is they're twins and the one's a contractor, the one's a realtor. And the realtor is trying to take them to homes that are fixer-uppers that they'll get at a deal and then they can maximize their budget to renovate it to their liking, right? So by the time it's all said and done, the new homeowners are like, wow, this is beyond like anything we ever could have imagined. But like that's TV magic, right? That's not how it is in reality. Buyers are a lot more, to put it diplomatically, entitled these days and, and picky. So they want to come into something that's a little bit more turnkey.
Yes.
So you and I, knowing what we know about value adds and investing and such, like we could look at a house like that and be like, you know, to our significant others, oh, honey, you know, we could put like a 10 grand into the house, but it's going to add X amount in value and we can make it to our own. But like not everyone sees that.
That's a good point.
So someone who doesn't have that larger picture vision, they'd see like this old red bedroom and be like, oh, now we have to paint in here and do all this work.
Right. That's the same thing with virtual staging too. You know, like when people see, you know, a case for physical staging, even though virtual staging is our business, I do believe that real staging is very important. You know, like it all comes down to budget though, and a few other factors, right? If the home itself is vacant or et cetera, or something else terrible, right? People have no imagination.
Yes.
Or some people, sorry. So some people need to really see how a home can look with furniture placed certain ways.
For sure.
Because like even with our place, like it's like an awkward L shape, and so like we need certain types of furniture to make it work for like our seating area and our dining area to flow correctly. Even then it's not perfect, but it's fine. So like, you know, the type of furniture you use, the type of wall paint that you've got painted on your walls, everything helps the less imaginative people be able to see the end product easier, right? 100%.
Absolutely.
That's so true. It's such an important thing.
Reduce. I mean, it's sales at the end of the day, right? And you got to reduce the amount of objections in the prospect's mind.
Yes.
So that's what painting and staging and getting the house ready does for you.
Yes. What's this bigger book here? Or you got a couple more?
Let's keep going here. So this one's called The Listing Advantage Team Blueprint. This one is specific to realtors.
Nice.
So I've dubbed the Listing Advantage team as your power team and Navy SEALs of people that do a lot of things. Number one is they serve your client exceptionally well. So they add value to the house, like your painter, your stager. They facilitate the transaction of the sale or the purchase, like a lawyer or mortgage broker or whatever. They make sure the house is up to code and prim and proper, like with a home inspector or a handyman. So these are all the people that are an extension of your brand and reputation. So what I've done is I've created a book that is a little guide for agents to, there's a diagnostic framework in here for them to figure out like, okay, how do I vet my team members? So there's that. And then there's also an assessment tool in here. It's like a 2-minute questionnaire that they can go to, and it helps them figure out where they stand, like how their listing advantage team rates.
Interesting.
Yeah.
This is brilliant.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. This next one.
Yes.
This is my ebook that I've printed. So my painting handbook.
Such a great photo of you too. That's awesome.
Thanks, man.
It was with the less of a beard, which your beard is very impressive too, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah. So this one, I would say it's about 70 to 80% like painting 101.
Cool.
So whether you're a tradesperson, a homeowner, a realtor, this one's for everyone.
Nice.
You can read through it and by the end of it have like a decent idea of what's involved with the painting process. I talk about what to look for in a good painter. And then I'd say about 20 to 30% of it is, hey, here's why I'm not a painter that you should hire.
Of course, you have to.
Yeah.
Yes, very good.
Downloadable right from my homepage on my website.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like for free?
For free.
That's so great too.
Yeah.
Those are you've got all the funnels, man. That's amazing.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah.
Okay, I saved the best for last. So this is my hardcover book that I take with me to sales appointments, aka the greatest hits book, aka the coffee table book.
Nice.
So it's categorized by all the services we do.
Uh-huh.
So this one, I'll just flip to like an interior painting page here. But this book is really powerful because it gives a strong visual as to what my process is. So like this one here is a bedroom in Toronto that we did top to bottom.
Yeah.
And here.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Yeah. Just there you go. You can kind of see yourself.
It's a little better. Yeah. So, it's hard to tell from the camera, but I'll describe it. So the floors are covered with the protective paper. You can see some of the patchwork on the walls and the ceilings. And then in the after photo, this one was called color drenching, where you paint every surface the same color, but just in different levels of sheen.
Huh.
So it's like a design effect.
That's really interesting. That's cool.
But yeah, the whole book is basically a catalog of, what we can do for people and what the process looks like.
Wow. That is cool. That would just be a joy just flipping through. Because I think most people kind of just think that they want like neutral whites and things like that, but that's not actually the best case scenario. If they get a little bit educated on what's possible, put some color in there, and like doing like all those colors. Yeah, that's incredibly awesome.
Thank you.
Like that is it changes the entire feeling of a room. And maybe you want a specific room to feel a certain way, whether you're doing yoga in that room or exercise, or it's a reading room, or you do music. I think you want the room to complement what you're doing in that room, if that makes sense.
Totally.
As opposed to like it's just like everything's the same.
For sure. The best way I could describe this book is I could describe to you what chocolate cake tastes like, or I can give you a handsome slice of Dairy Queen chocolate ice cream cake.
Nicely said. That's awesome.
And you can taste it for yourself.
Wicked, man. Very good. That is incredible. I'm incredibly interested. I'm probably going to go ahead and download this guy too, because that is super awesome. And this one was for free as well for real estate agents. Yeah, that's incredible. The listing advantage. I love how you put it about how real estate agents are so core to the experience of selling. I think now they like maybe the past decade they kind of got a bad rap, and but good agents are worth every single penny.
100%.
Absolutely, because you actually end up probably making more by hiring a good agent when you bring everything together. I love your example of Navy SEALs. That's super cool. My go-to is kind of like they're the lieutenants. Yes. And we're all like the paratroopers or whatever, or like Navy SEALs. And they're just like making sure the operation is going as intended, right? And so the the value of a good realtor is, some of our realtors get all the same services for every single home, regardless of how nice that home is or how not nice. Photo, video, drone, floor plan, for every single home. Even if it's a townhouse and there's not much to look at nearby, still get drone because the sellers love it. The nearby neighbors love it, and they're like, and if another home is for sale too, and they didn't get a video and drone and a floor plan, then they're that seller, and if it expires, that contract, and they didn't get any bites or they're not getting any offers of what they're hoping for, they're going to be like, well, I'm going to go for this one then. I'm going to hire this real estate agent because look at, like, they did everything right, and their track record proved that they got a wicked sale price comparable, and boom, so doing more is an advantage, and I think that's where there's probably a lot about that, right? So on the scale of where do you place yourself as a real estate agent? Am I kind of talking about the book a little bit, or is it not? Yeah.
No, you're bang on.
Cool.
The scorecard that I did, it's a 12-question assessment tool where you to see where you land with your listing advantage team.
Nice.
So
that's awesome.
Are you getting houses prepared proactively, or are you reactive? Do you have all the people you need to actualize the sale or the purchase, or maybe you need a new handyman, or maybe you need a new cleaner. Like this book helps you gauge where you land, like how you stand, what the status of your team is.
Sweet. That's awesome. That's a gold mine there. It's, at least like personally for me, I feel like it is. They're all amazing, especially if you're anyone, a homeowner. That one's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, but actually, I am a real estate agent.
Oh, you are.
Yeah, I am too.
You can keep these.
Oh, sick.
Yeah,
man. Thank you.
yeah,
That's cool. Yeah, that's some reading material for tonight.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Go ahead.
To your point, it's really about setting a high standard. And the Pareto principle, which is like a universal law across every field, is it's basically 80-20. 20% of the people or 20% of the input produces 80% of the output.
Oh,
So if you look at the Ontario, how many agents there are in Ontario? There's about 90,000, 70,000 in Toronto, in the Toronto Real Estate Board alone.
right.
And probably only 25 to 30% of them actually do deals. Like the other 75% don't even sell a house, or they sell one house per year.
Yeah.
So what that means is the cohort of top producers and people actually doing transactions is a lot smaller than you think. It's like the music business. People think the music business is massive because it's so proliferated, but like the music business is actually very small. So the real estate industry is kind of like that too, is you have this small cohort of people who hold a really high standard and execute at this high level of excellence all the time, and success leaves clues. So it's like, yo, what are these guys doing? These guys and gals doing that is differentiating them. And everything you mentioned, where it's, the drone video, the floor plan, the photos, the listing website, like those are just whoever is doing those things consistently is upholding the standard.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. Not only do we love them very much because we do make a little bit more, but also like it's proving that it works in their system too. Because when they're going to the listing presentation, and they're up against a dozen other real estate agents, and they come in saying, I'm going to give you drone, this and that, and here's some examples of that photography. And then like the next guy is like, I'm going to take photos on my phone. Right? Like, well, when you're offering all these great things, it sounds really good to the sellers, and they're going to go with you, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a general takeaway from all of that is hang out with people who are setting the standard.
Yes.
Right? Be a standard setter yourself. Like, I don't know any other painter who has a handbook, a hardcover portfolio, and I'm in a few BNI groups locally.
Nice.
So I've been in the Whippy group for about 4 years, and then I've spread my tentacles and put some other painters in other groups.
Oh, clever.
So I've had other painter pals of mine from like Toronto and in Durham, and they're like, they call me almost daily or weekly, and they're like, yo, how'd you do this? How'd you do that? And like everyone, and now like they're joining BNI groups and they're creating their own little portfolio. And it's like, oh, okay, like I'm just here doing my thing. Yeah. And it's setting a standard.
Yes. That's great. And imitation is like, the best form of how does the saying go?
R&D. Rip off and duplicate.
There you go. Yeah, that's what let's say it how it is. Yeah. But yeah, like you said, you're just doing you, and you just keep going and keep doing. And that's amazing. Honestly, it's incredible. You've done incredibly well.
Thanks.
Any use of and I always talk a little bit about this, regardless of what it is, even music, but any element of AI in your business, or do you foresee it playing a part, big or small, not negative, but positive or negative,
Yeah, so currently I use it when I film my talking head educational videos. I'll use it to create all the subtitles and help tighten up on the editing.
Yes.
I also use it for if I'm writing copy, whether on my website or social media or wherever, I kind of just hone, like I'll always start with my own ideas and I'll prompt it with my ideas. I don't just say do everything for me.
Of course, yes.
I think that's a good practice is to still be creative.
Yeah, for sure.
I think the next thing I'm going to use AI for is standardizing all my standard operating procedures.
Nice.
And like just dumping, like just do a big brain dump of every department of my biz, of all the things I've been doing, just put them into some sort of AI system and be like, create an operations manual for me.
Yes. I just created an SOP, standard operating procedure, for our video editors.
Cool.
Because it used to be, when we first started in real estate media, maybe about 5 years ago, it was me doing the shooting and editing, right? And then that evolved to, honey, I don't have time to edit. So I showed her how to edit one video, and then she became better than me overnight. So she became the video editor.
Cool.
And then she also got kind of too busy to video edit, because now she's scheduling me and another person and some other subcontractors. So now we have vendor editors, right? And they pretty much only work for us. And so now, though, like, now my wife is doing a lot of quality control, and Becky as well too. That's probably our biggest bottleneck, though. So I used AI to create a wicked SOP, standard operating procedure, of like all my common complaints. And like usually the client gets like the best version, but when it comes to us first, we have to like filter and edit, and then we give it to the client. So it's just about like minimizing that time and getting it to them quicker, and just getting a more polished edit from the get-go, right? And yeah, those SOPs are so important. I think that's I'm glad that you kind of brought that up, and I'm on sort of the right track of like, this is where I want to get to. So knowing that I made my like first SOP like a few weeks ago. But that's good, and hopefully someone listening will be like, SOP, standard operating procedure, I guess this is something I should have. And so, like you said, just write all your find one big bottleneck, or something in your business, and just completely brain dump everything into a prompt, and come back with a SOP. And then if you have someone, or if even for yourself, create an SOP for yourself, if you're the person that does it, I guess, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And one tip I can give to people as well is, I think sometimes overwhelm is very easy to encounter, because you think like, oh, I have all these SOPs that I got to document, and got to change up this system, change up that system. That's all well and good. Like I said, have that master list of things you want to do to optimize the business, but just go one at a time.
Yeah. You said it. One really good, I have one quote from one marketing guru, is Gary Vaynerchuk. Everyone knows him.
Everyone knows Gary.
Yeah. But like years ago, like maybe 7-8 years ago, totally changed my life, like everything. But one thing that always sticks to me is like, speed is success in business, but patience makes permanent. So like, yes, try and have micro speed and write your huge master list, but do just one at a time, like you said, which is brilliant, right? Do, even if it's as little as like 1 a week, or 1 a day, or 3 a day, whatever your speed is and complexity of that to-do list, right?
For
Super
sure.
important. That's awesome, man. Yeah,
For sure.
awesome. So you, let's say, what are some, first, I just had 3 topics go through my head.
Go for it. Yeah, let's do it.
So coming up this spring, are there any like go-to colors or themes that are like, I think we went through a big phase of neutralizing walls, and which is still evidently a very popular thing to do today, because it brightens a room, et cetera, all that. Are there any interesting trends coming up, or colors, or color of the year, or whatever?
Yeah. So right now we're still seeing, like, as the main color, the earthy tones.
Cool.
I'd say maybe 5 to 10 years ago it was the cool tones.
Yeah.
So like the grays, light, medium, dark. Now it's more so the earthy tones.
Nice.
And the creamy off whites. So, and those are all making a comeback.
Wicked.
I would say, whether it's the real estate listing projects or even my regular homeowner one-to-one clients, I'm unanimous. I'm continuously doing the earthy tones with bold accent walls.
Ooh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. So nice. we'll do like agreeable gray from Sherwin-Williams.
Cool. Is that what it's called?
The color is literally called agreeable gray. Yeah, that's so great. Yeah. yeah, we could have a whole side
Yeah,
tangent
I
on
bet.
that color because it's agreeable with every finish in the house.
That's wild.
Yeah,
Is that why they kind of called it that too?
Probably.
Probably. Oh,
Yeah.
that's funny.
But recently we did a listing with that as the main color, and then we had dark navy accent walls.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah.
Ah,
Or we've done like a Balboa mist from Benjamin Moore,
Yes.
which is like an earthy tone with a little bit more gray in it. And then we've done like dark green, forest green, or mid-tone sagey kind of accent walls.
nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. We'll definitely have you come to my house. We bought a nice home, a family growing home in Newtonville, and not the super rich area as much as I'd love to. Off a highway too. It's a great area, but we got
nice.
like some trails and stuff, so that was a big
Nice.
selling feature for us. I said to my wife the other day, like we were walking through our trail that I made. It wasn't there before when we bought it, but I had a gentleman with a skid steer run through the whole day for $5,000, and he did in a day what I would have taken me 2 or 3 years, right? So it was
Wow.
worth every penny.
Right.
With like a mulching, like taking some loose trees down. But anyway, walking through our trail, and I'm like, oh, like Abby, we ended up buying a place because we don't like bumping into people in the public at like other public trails, only because our dogs are just we have 2 big dogs.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just like, it's hard to wrangle them.
Yeah.
Sometimes, right? They get so excited. It's not that they're aggressive, but they're just super excited to see people or other dogs. Even though like they're pretty good, but they're big. Rottweiler and German Shepherd.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
King German Shepherd,
Yeah.
massive, fluffy. And so we literally made a trail for ourselves to walk through.
That's so cool.
Just because we don't want to go through and publicly see other people.
You're literally a trailblazer.
Yeah, seriously, that's hilarious. But yeah, I definitely need you to come to our place. Right now, it's all kind of like a like a cool white, all throughout the home. We definitely want to go for a warmer white or earthy tone.
Yeah.
So questions for accent wall. Will you guys do the like wood paneling too, or just painting?
We're more so just the painting.
Yeah.
We do wallpapering.
Nice.
So we could do like a wallpaper accent wall for you.
Nice.
But more of the fine carpentry kind of stuff.
Yes.
I'd refer you to
Get someone to come in.
Someone,
Cool.
yeah.
Wicked, yeah. We did this wall. It's a little hard to see right now because it's black. But like every piece is like a separate piece.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that.
Even like the little accent pieces were like, like $6 from Amazon per little piece.
Right.
But it's super nice.
It is.
Yeah.
That's character.
It's called Onyx from Deluxe Paints.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a popular one.
I feel like I could drop any paint name and you'd be like, yeah, I painted with that.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, it's just nice because it's not like super black, but it's like a granite almost.
Yeah.
It was just nice, and it just complements video very well. I do most of my talking head with that backdrop.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
It's a really nice one. Yes.
The other thing I'd mention on color too, in the context of whether it's a homeowner wanting to love their space again or listing, in the context of budgetary, like just being more budget conscious, picking a color like an earthy tone that's going to cover most existing colors in 2 coats, because sometimes people want to do the whites or the off whites, and no problem, like I'll do whatever you want me to do. Just keep in mind that when you're whiting out something, you usually got to prime it and then paint it.
Yeah.
So it adds time and material to the job.
Right.
Like I had a listing project in the Danforth area right before Christmas, and the client wanted OC17 White Dove. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, wow.
White Dove, yeah. Very, very popular Benjamin Moore color.
Okay. Yeah.
Creamy off-white. It's a beautiful color.
Nice.
But he wanted this throughout the entire house. And I said to him, I was like, hey, like I could probably do the job for like $1,000 less if we don't have to prime before we paint because of the material costs and the labor costs. And he said, nope, I want White Dove.
Huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if you can pay for it, sure.
Wicked.
I was trying to save him a few bucks, but on the, that's kind of like my pro tip to homeowners or realtors. Like if you're trying to save a few bucks on the paint costs, like pick colors that are going to cover in 2 coats.
Nice. Oh, that's fantastic. But then like some people just don't care and they're just like, no, I just want this and I don't care about paying extra.
Yeah, no, and that's okay too. That's okay too.
Yeah, of course, right? Yeah,
I'm just trying to be helpful.
As you should, of course, yes. Speaking of, so this giant wall, this cyclorama, curved corner wall, we get, and maybe you can recommend a better paint, but we use the diamond matte, just plain white from Deluxe, and it's because it's like, in my experience, like the most eggshell matte, non-glossy paint that I could possibly find. Because for a photography wall, it's just super important when like a flash fires or you have like, like it almost looks like eggshell, very eggshell, right?
Yeah.
And I joke to people that I'm a part-time painter because sometimes I have to paint the floor if rentals pay for it. Of course I'm not, but I've just got my little roller and I do 2-3 coats, but we did one time, it was for a police association actually, and they were filming a green screen project. So I did one time paint a chroma key. I forget what it was called exactly. It might have been just chroma key. Very amazing, very green paint. All over. Yeah. And then when we painted it back to white, though, I didn't use a primer or anything. And maybe this is where I went wrong.
Yeah.
I must have put like 8 layers of paint to try and get. Yeah. So I obviously didn't do that right. Yeah. And now there's like maybe like 2% of green in this wall now. Okay. It's so light you can't tell. You can only tell on the very edges. Right. So I guess what I would need to do is prime. Yes. Or like, do I need to scrape or what's a good solution for this?
Yeah. So I mean, the diamond matte is a great paint. I started my painting career with Dulux.
Nice.
I still use a number of their products regularly, so it's a really good one. In terms of coverage over a bright color like green, you would want to prime because primer has the key chemical is called titanium dioxide, and that's the chemical that helps add body and coverage to the paint. So primer paint has that in it as well, but primer has a lot more of it in it. So it kind of helps with the coverage of the paint. So over the bright green wall, I would say if you use like a Sherwin-Williams, what's it called? I can't remember the name of their latex primer, but Dulux has one called Gripper.
Okay.
If you did like 2 coats of Gripper and then 2 coats of diamond, you would have been fine.
Oh boy.
But if you're just doing diamond, I could see how 8 layers
still doesn't quite cut it.
Yeah.
So if I were to do 2 layers of Gripper and then 2 layers of diamond, would I be okay, or did I screw the pooch here?
No, I mean it's fine now.
Okay.
You're good. But if you have to do it again, that's what you'd use.
Yeah. If I do need to paint the whole wall, I maybe do it once every year or 2. I can usually it's usually the floor that just needs to get painted because obviously scuffs and shoe marks, right? Okay. So I'll because I have a little bucket of Gripper actually too.
Nice.
But I'll probably get like something bigger and then I like Deluxe only because they give us like a nice education discount. It's nearly like 40 or 50% off too, which is wicked. So that helps a lot.
That's actually a good pro tip for homeowners and professionals is Benjamin Moore, they're franchised.
Oh yeah.
So if you want to count pricing with them, you're only going to get a discount of maybe 10 to 15% versus if you go to Sherwin or Dulux, which are corporate, and you're buying volume from them, then you can go to any store in the country, really. I could go to a Dulux in Vancouver and still have my account pricing there.
Nice. Wicked.
Yeah.
That's great. That's very good. Awesome. So when you are relaxing, what are some things that you like to do other than painting? Actually, before we get to that,
sure.
Do you paint for fun?
Like artistically? No.
I had to ask at least like once. Yeah.
Yeah.
As much as I would love to do things with my camera for fun. I do, but it's definitely a tool for business. Yeah, like Bob, what's his name?
Bob Ross.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some Bob Ross, painting.
Yeah, we're just gonna paint this little tree over here. Give this guy some character. Yeah.
Right. So for relaxation, what do you do?
So I love to travel. I travel at least once a year.
Nice.
Yeah. Last year, my cousin and I went to Thailand, Cambodia, and Vietnam.
Whew, wicked.
Yeah, that was wicked. Yeah. Not sure what's on the agenda this year, but I know I want to go somewhere.
Nice.
And then I also am a drummer. In fact, I tell people that I'm a closeted professional drummer.
Sick. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, I've been playing since I was 10,
Uh-huh.
and I'm going to be 30 this year.
Right on.
So I have a YouTube channel.
Yes.
I just post videos when I can. I have about 16 at the time of this recording.
Very good. How can people find you on YouTube with your drumming?
So painting and drumming, you just type in Michael Cappa. I have a whole playlist of painting videos, and I have a whole playlist of drumming videos.
Amazing. Well done. Perfect. So yeah, you kind of have blended both, but separate playlists, which is very smart. That's good. Amazing, man. What are some songs that you like to jam to?
Oh, okay. Well, one of my favorite bands is Metallica.
Sick.
So any Metallica song has got my name on it. Led Zeppelin's a lot of fun. Rush, like anything that's really challenging.
Cool. Nice. Yeah, you definitely have. Just from talking with you for 15 minutes, you've got a brain of you've got a complex brain, and you need to keep it exercised with just dominating in business, and you're dominating in drumming, because drumming is not an easy thing to do, and there's rhythm, and that's crazy, bro. You're on the next level, man.
Thanks,
that's
man.
wild.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, super cool, bro. You're a superhero. Have you played in the public? Or, like you said, you're a closeted professional drummer.
Yeah, in the past, in high school, I was in some bands. I've been in a band here or there in my 20s, but I mean, I still have the dream of being the guy on the poster.
Oh, yeah.
Just how Justin Bieber got discovered by Usher posting on YouTube. I post on YouTube, and my intention and my goal is, hey, someone will see this and be like, that guy. I want that guy to be my drummer.
Sick, dude. You know what we could do? We could do. You can blend paint and drumming and this at the same time. So what if we had you in here in the studio?
Yeah.
And this would be a good reason then to paint the whole cyclorama wall.
Okay.
Bring your drum kit. We'll put a carpet, because the music rock band that came in recently, they needed something because the drum kit was gonna move everywhere.
Yeah.
So they just used our front mat, but some mat that keeps it all in place. Go crazy ham on whatever.
Yeah.
We'll film it, but we'll pour. Maybe this will be a disposable drum kit then. Okay. We'll find something super cheap, maybe. We just pour paint everywhere, and as you're hitting it, it's just flying everywhere.
Oh my! Wow!
I feel like that would go viral, that would be wicked. That I'm up for it. You've got the space for it. I guess we'll probably put up some something so that it doesn't hit this way.
Yeah.
But that would be fun. I'm up for doing it if you ever want to. We'll need to find a drum kit that we probably will throw out after or give away or something.
Yeah.
And that would be fun if you're up for it. We'll do something with paint and drumming at the same time, and it'll just be slow-mo.
Like the Blue Man Group. Yeah, that'd be sick. I'm down.
Okay, sick, dude.
Totally
awesome.
down.
Okay, there's an idea. Yeah, so then we'll blend painting and drumming in one.
Yeah. One thing worth sharing is drumming. You're basically an athlete, right? Because your posture, your ergonomics, your just everything about executing the craft is a bit of a science, and you're an athlete because you're using your entire body. You're manipulating all your limbs to get the sound you want. Whereas if you're a violinist or a piano player or a guitar player, you're not using your entire body. You're just using your arms or your fingers or whatever. So with that in mind, in order for me to continue drumming at the level that I do, it's paramount that I'm stretching daily. I'm doing my physio exercises daily.
Nice.
I go every 2 or 3 weeks for ultrasound on my elbow and my knee because I have chronic tendonitis, strengthening exercises around those compromised joints.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, and when you start to go down the rabbit hole of art, like artists and musicians, like Lars Ulrich, the drummer of Metallica, I know his shoulder gives him grief. Neil Peart, the drummer of Rush, I know he used to get really bad tendonitis in his wrists. I mean, Phil Collins, case in point, you just Google him and see like what he looks like now in his old age.
Yeah.
You know, these musicians and these artists, like eventually their bodies, after years of repetition doing their craft, like starts to give out, or not even give out, but just wear.
Yes.
So like Mick Jagger is probably the most athletic man in rock and roll and show business, because he's 80 years old and he still dances around like he's 25. Like he travels with a mobile gym. He's working out every day.
Wow.
You know, so to pursue your craft, there's a lot of it that people, the behind the scenes stuff that people don't see, to like maintain your body and your mind to be able to execute the craft.
Wow. That's brilliant, man. Absolutely. And I think it's so important that you take care of your body, which, helps your mind too, because that's incredible. I could kind of tell like you're pretty fit, like your forearms are massive. And I knew that it wasn't just from painting, although like maybe, but I don't know. That's great, dude. Actually, next, later today, we've got, Ryan Ironson's training, who, is coming in later today too.
Cool.
Yeah, super cool guy. He offers kind of like one-on-one, even like online, and they'll have like a chat and just fix like your routine and things like that. Yeah, that's smart, man. I know. Even back in my childhood, there was a guy in high school who played piano, and his forearms were huge.
Wow.
Like know. So, and that's smart. You gotta take care of your body, and you gotta make sure that you gotta fit in time for that. Yeah, I was throwing in logs into a wood chipper yesterday, and my back was like just done. After doing that for an hour, I was just like, ugh. One thing I need to fix in my life personally is just to fit in more time for exercise.
For sure.
It's a little bit hard because we got like a 20-month-old who's lots of energy. At the end of the day, I'm just like, just no time.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Yeah.
What else is on your mind with the time we got left?
I don't know. I'm really excited with spring season market. I'm ready to work. I think I had a really nice, relaxing winter break, especially with a little one. And we've got a second one on the way.
Wow, congrats.
October, thanks, man. Business on the mind and investments and, like what can we do to just live our best life, right? And whatnot. But, I mean, every day there's always just something to do though, So I've got my personal master list. I used Apple's reminders app to just create like all of my list, and then I'll like assign my wife for like a few things, and they'll just stay.
Set out my clothes for the day. Dress me.
I'm the cleaner actually in our family.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I am like the organized freak cleaner.
Yeah, gotcha.
She's kind of the chaotic mess. She thrives in chaos.
Sure.
And it's we're polar opposites in that way.
Interesting.
But that's okay. I think what makes a marriage successful, at least one very important core element, is to realize what each partner is good at, what they're not good at, and then just being like, you know what, that's okay, and just help. You know, and so like I don't bother cooking, even though I could. But my wife does a great job cooking. Yeah, and then but like cleaning. Anywhere in the home, like I'm just like I can't live in chaos and uncleanliness, so I take care of that.
Sure,
and that helps her too, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like a successful marriage is, it helps to just know your part and how you can help, because it's kind of like a business in itself, right? And you have roles,
Yeah, it's a unity.
yeah, big time
for sure.
And now with this little one and stuff, it's just like an extra layer of like complexity, but it's a lot of fun. Yeah,
for sure.
Wouldn't have it any other way.
Good, man.
Yeah,
I'm glad you're happy.
Yeah, thanks, man. What's up and coming for you?
The next thing in my entrepreneurial journey here. So kind of expanding on this listing advantage team blueprint document. What I've observed is that tradespeople and service providers, especially the really good ones, are starving for more work, especially in the time that we're in right now. It kind of goes beyond the conversation of this podcast, but it's a tricky time.
Yes.
And agents, like realtors, they're starving for good help. So it's like, okay, what I've identified is I can be that super connector. I can be the conduit between really great realtors and top producers and really great tradespeople and service providers. So this is actually part of a longer term goal of starting a coaching business that's going to mentor. On the one side, I'd have tradespeople that I'm coaching how to work with more realtors, how to become the vendor at brokerages. And then on the realtor side is coaching them how to vet power team and listing advantage team members, right? Because there's certain things that on the trades and service provider side, you got to bring to the table.
Yes.
And how you're going to best represent the agent and add value to their brand and their listings and their client experience. And then on the agent side, what to look for, like those traits of what to look for in your team. And actually, back to our thing about optimizing and systemizing, as an agent, actually taking the time to chart out who's on your team rather than just flying by the seat of your pants and you're like, okay, we got to get this listing ready, but we don't have a video guy. We got to get this listing ready, but we don't have a cleaner. And my dad always taught me that a good Boy Scout comes prepared. So yeah, that's what this is
nice, dude.
Me leaning into eventually starting that coaching business.
Wicked, man. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And if I may, before we wrap, do you have a history of like scouting or of like something in the military? Because I know you mentioned no. You just okay. Yeah, because I know you mentioned like Navy SEALs a couple times.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, like, but you bring that into the business realm, and that's your arena. That's super cool, man. Yeah, you're quite a genius. I'll be following your journey online, and I hope we get to do some fun stuff together. One more time for people, how can people find you and reach out to you?
Yeah, so where I live on social media is mostly Instagram or Facebook. So my personal is @ Michael Cappa. And then my Altona Painting is @Altona Painting. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can download my handbook right from my website, altonapainting.com. And connect with me.
Sick, man. Awesome, dude. Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So sick, dude. Well done, man. Awesome. Cool. I'm going to be reading that book pretty much right now.
Yeah, keep it.
That's awesome, bro. Thank you.
Yeah, these are for you.
Thank you.